knowing that audio was probably going to come out along with additional tapes, whether they be video or audio is unclear at this particular moment in time, Shannon Sharpe felt compelled to come out in his own defense. In my perfect world, he moves on. And somehow, some way, we find this all to be false. But it doesn't seem like that's the way things are about to go down, considering who Mr. Busby is.
Football Hall of Famer and broadcaster Shannon Sharpe says he's stepping aside from his job at ESPN in light of new allegations. On Sunday, a woman filed a $50 million civil lawsuit in the state of Nevada.
Yeah, I might choke you in public. Big black guy chokes small white woman.
You sharing text messages, that's just sharing too much. We didn't want to hear about nobody getting hog-tied in your bedroom and your salad getting tossed while you wearing a collar. It's too much.
All of these big dick deviants, they're all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is.
Stephen A. Smith is clearly keeping a close eye on the situation. Shannon Sharpe has just been let go from ESPN, and things are not looking favorable. Reports suggest this isn't just a job loss, there's talk he could be permanently blacklisted after 3 more women step forward with serious allegations. And the public isn't offering much support.
Raceplay, Shannon Sharpe. Raceplay? I don't even want to talk about this, but the more videos I scroll past talking about Shannon Sharpe and this relationship that he had with this 19-year-old. And honestly, I was just assaulted by this information. I didn't know anything about it. And I'm scrolling, minding my business, and I see a deluge of text messages that he released from this girl that are weird and with an obvious race fetish. And it's not just her with the race fetish. He obviously was turned on by these conversations as well. And he only released what she was saying. Put a big black baby in me. Oh my gosh, I can't believe. I wouldn't be surprised if she was calling him the N-word during coitus. He's into that. And if this man is turned on sexually by being racialized in such a weird way.
Many are calling this a case of karma catching up with Shannon, and it's coming down hard. This is quickly becoming one of the most dramatic and controversial scandals we've seen in some time. If you've missed the developments, here's a quick breakdown.
Grateful I'm not 56 and trying.
What you trying to say? What you trying to say?
I'm looking right at you.
I know you looking at your
I ain't backing down. You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl. This is your auntie talking to you. Take your ass and get your old out there that can love you old. You trying to hang out with these young you can't do it, Shannon. You just can't do it.
Allegedly, Shannon got involved with an OnlyFans model, someone significantly younger, reportedly close to his granddaughter's age. It appears he believed his wealth offered him immunity, but that assumption proved wrong. What's more, this wasn't only about financial power. Sources claim Shannon engaged in deeply problematic raceplay scenarios, which has shocked many online. As the situation escalated, damning evidence surfaced, including text messages and audio clips, where he allegedly made disturbing remarks, some involving public violence. That's when things took a sharp downturn.
All of us have someone to answer to. No matter how maverick we try to be, and we own our own business, and we're our sole proprietors like I am on this platform and stuff like that. There are advertisers, there are sponsors, there are people you do business with, there are partners, and there are bosses.
Shannon Sharpe's reputation has taken a major blow. It's now being reported that he attempted to offer millions in hush money to one of the women involved, apparently trying to prevent the story from being made public. He likely understood that the truth would eventually come out, but the woman refused to be silenced. She waited, and now everything has surfaced. Shannon's actions appear to have been reckless.
It's a sad situation. Shannon Sharpe is somebody I work with a couple of days a week. Shannon Sharpe is somebody that I brought to ESPN. To be clear, even though this this podcast, this YouTube show is owned and operated by me solely, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be dismissive of ESPN, who employs me in my daytime job on First Day. So I sit here before you today letting you know that they are aware that this is a subject that I was going to broach, because I owe them that courtesy. I am the executive producer of First Take on ESPN. I recruited Shannon. I went and got him and brought him to ESPN. I'm not the boss. Those are other folks. There are layers to this, and there are certain layers even I am not on. I can tell you, I also spoke to co-chairman of Disney, the boss, Jimmy Pitaro, who made it very, very clear we are taking this matter very seriously, and we are looking into this very, very closely. In my perfect world, he moves on. And somehow, some way, we find this all to be false. But it doesn't seem like that's the way things are about to go down, considering who Mr. Busby is and how emphatic his client is proclaiming that she is right and she's telling the truth. I have no idea what direction ESPN and Walt Disney will go in when it comes to this matter. All I do know is it won't be me making a decision. It'll be others. Steps. In the end, all of us have someone to answer to. No matter how maverick we try to be, and we own our own business, and we're our sole proprietors like I am on this platform and stuff like that. There are advertisers, there are sponsors, there are people you do business with, there are partners, and there are bosses. That's the situation, unfortunately, that Shannon Sharpe finds himself in.
Instead of support, Shannon is facing ridicule both from the public and even from Stephen A. Smith over his age and continued involvement with young OnlyFans models. The general sentiment is that he showed a lack of self-control. Reportedly, even comedians like Cat Williams and Monique had advised him against getting entangled with much younger women, warning of potential consequences. But Shannon dismissed the concerns, taking them lightly. Now, he's lost millions, his media. Deals have ended, and his reputation is deteriorating rapidly.
This 3-time Super Bowl champion and this Hall of Famer, who emphatically stated to me over the phone how innocent he is of these allegations that have been levied against him, insisting repeatedly that anything you read, anything you see, anything you hear was fully and totally consensual. In the same breath, what's inescapable is that without us knowing all the merits, he was working with Disney, where I've worked since 2003, excluding my departure from 2009 to 2011. And I was gone for those 2 years. Outside of that, I've been at Disney since October of 2003. I know this place. I know the worldwide leader that is ESPN, who's under the umbrella of Disney. And it wasn't difficult for me to figure out what was transpiring. They didn't need any definitive evidence at this particular moment in time about all of that stuff. Once all the things Shannon Sharpe's lawyer put out there, it was uncomfortable to listen to. And it was not something that Walt Disney once associated with its brand. So to have him on the airwaves while all of that stuff was put out there was not something that Disney was going to do. That is what I mean when I say I'm not surprised.
At the same time, Stephen A. Smith is reportedly taking some private satisfaction in Shannon's troubles, despite his outward display of concern. It's clear he's not overly distressed about the fallout. And believe it or not, this situation continues to grow more complicated. Let's take a closer look at the broader impact.
A lot of people want to walk around thinking you can do what you want to do when you want to do it. You could your own operation. You don't have to answer to anybody. That's not true. I've had people open their mouth and they've said, Stephen A., you work for ESPN, kind of control. This is my podcast. This is my YouTube show. I own this. But if you think for 1 second that I could just do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it, and there's not going to be any repercussions, you're clueless. And you're destined to fail always. Some people sit up there and they look at me and they say, Stephen A. don't get himself in this kind of trouble. How does he pull it off? Well, first of all, there's certain behaviors and proclivities that you never have to worry about in these behaviors. But most importantly than that, I often say this about Wall Street. I'd rather work for a place with slavery.
Shannon Sharpe is officially out at ESPN, and the ramifications are serious. For context, ESPN isn't just another sports outlet, it's majority owned by Disney, a company with a strong family-friendly brand and billions at stake. Once the troubling reports came to light, lawsuits, leaked communications, and the Raceplay controversy, Disney acted swiftly. While ESPN has weathered past scandals, this one clearly crossed a boundary. The combination of legal issues, a relationship with a 19-year-old OnlyFans creator, and the disturbing content of the allegations made it impossible to manage internally.
Grandma used to say something, she'd say, boy, sometimes God will put you in place people don't think you belong. And anytime you're somewhere where people don't think you belong, you know what they say, Steve? Well, he don't deserve that. Who are you to tell me what God has made a mistake on me? He don't deserve.
Shannon appeared to believe he could downplay the situation and move on. But once allegations involving race and assault came to light, the matter escalated into a full-blown public relations crisis, one that couldn't be managed with typical damage control. On April 24th, Shannon issued a statement suggesting he had chosen to take a break from his responsibilities at ESPN. He even indicated plans to return by the NFL preseason, as though the incident were minor. However, according to sources within ESPN, that version isn't accurate. Insiders claim that Shannon didn't leave voluntarily, he was pushed out. ESPN reportedly allowed him to portray it as a personal decision in order to preserve his image. But internally, the decision had already been made. His tenure at the network was over.
My only goal, I didn't want to get with a white woman because I was scared she might have me running down the street like Jonathan Majors.
There you go, think I'm old, cat.
Not because I didn't like white women. I think white women are as great as any other women. But I'm not gonna act like I'm not scared of them. I have a reason to be scared. You could be Kang the Conqueror and they could take your rabbit ass down in 2 weekends. And that's the truth of the matter. So I stayed away from that. And remember, I told you the drug story from when I'm in the park.
Yeah.
So these are just the things. I had all of those when I came in. I already was ready for that.
Individuals familiar with the matter now say Shannon is effectively blacklisted from ESPN. The network has decided to cut all TIs and wants no further association. In the midst of this, Stephen A. Smith weighed in as both a host and executive. Producer on First Take, he used his platform to address the controversy. His statement was measured. He expressed concern for Shannon and called the developments unfortunate. Yet, a closer listen reveals a deeper subtext.
You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl. This is your auntie talking to you. Take your ass and get your old out there that can love you old. You're trying to hang out with these young and you can't do it, Shannon. You just can't do it.
Told you. I told you. You ain't tell me.
Stephen spoke about Shannon's professional path in a tone that implied it had already concluded. He seemed fully aware that the end had arrived. Following the announcement of Shannon's so-called break, Stephen reinforced the idea that Disney, as ESPN's parent company, maintains a strict stance on its public image. He made it clear once Disney perceives someone as a liability, the outcome is final. There's no path to redemption, only accountability. He also pointed out that Shannon's decision to share private messages from the OnlyFans model significantly worsened the situation. Insiders confirmed that those texts alone were enough for Disney and ESPN to reach a conclusive decision. Shannon's behavior left the company with no viable alternative. Stevens subtly criticized him for acting irresponsibly at his age, assuming he was untouchable only to find himself outmaneuvered by someone far younger. In the end, Shannon lost everything: his finances, his reputation, and the trajectory of his career, all due to his inability to act with restraint.
$50 million, I go to hell. For $50 million, I go to hell. For $50 million, I go to hell.
Stephen A. Smith kept his remarks intentionally broad, claiming he wasn't speaking about any individual in particular. He said his comments applied to anyone who behaves as if they're beyond accountability. Still, it was clear to most observers who he was referencing. The timing and tone of his message closely mirrored Shannon's circumstances. That's why many fans haven't held back in criticizing Shannon. They argue that at his age, he should have known better than to make such elementary mistakes, especially given how often he spoke publicly about traditional values instilled by his grandmother. But when it came time to live by those principles, he fell short, and his grandmother wasn't the only source of advice. Recall when Cat Williams appeared on Club Shay Shay last year, he directly warned Shannon about the complications that can come from relationships with white women. That warning wasn't meant as a punchline. It was a serious heads up.
And just one more thing about Mr. Sharpe. Not so sharp, clearly. It is my theory, just my opinion, my theory, not fact, my opinion. I think all of this RACE rhetoric that was in those text messages started with him. It started with him. It's becoming more and more clear to me, in my opinion, that he has a race fetish. He has a fetish for that type of dynamic. Think about it. This was a 19-year-old white woman when he met her. I don't know any 19-year-old white woman that's running around hollering about a big black baby and baby gravy. Shannon was a 54-year-old big black grown man from the backwoods of Georgia. Gravy sound like some he's familiar with. Big black babies, he's probably seen a few in his day. Born in the backwoods of Georgia where he grew up with his grandma and all them other folks. But I just don't think that came from her. Now, is she repeating it back in those text messages? Yes, that's why he released her messages, not his. Peep that. Okay? We haven't seen what his responses was. And I guarantee you, when they post those messages, y'all gonna see. All of that race started with him. It's a fetish. And he could only play that kind of stuff out with a young girl. He couldn't, like Monique was trying to tell him, get an older gal. Older gal ain't going for that. They was so immediately knew he was a freak and a weirdo. A 19-year-old don't know better. That's why she repeated it back to him, because he said it to her first. Older men, that's why they tend to want to be with younger women. They're more impressionable. They can mold them. They can shape them to be what they want them to be. Do what they want them to do. You let him come to a 40 or 50-year-old woman talking about put a big black baby and baby gravy. We gonna be looking like, what's wrong with you? Yeah, that started with him. Mark my words, it's gonna come out. But that race stuff started with Shannon.
According to the lawsuit timeline, Shannon was already involved with the OnlyFans model at the time of Kat's warning. And the pattern continued. Soon after Kat's interview went viral, Monique also appeared on Club Shay Shay. She encouraged Shannon to stop pursuing significantly younger women and recommended that he date someone closer to his own age. She highlighted the risks that come with large age differences, calling such relationships potential traps. Then, things took an even more ironic turn. An old clip began circulating in which Shannon jokingly said he'd go to hell for $50 million. Now, that line seems strangely prophetic because Gabriela Zuniga, the woman accusing him, has filed a $50 million lawsuit. The way events have unfolded almost defies belief.
Oh, you're coming to LA tomorrow?
Yes.
Well, I don't know why you want to go out.
Don't worry about it, Gary.
Well, okay.
Okay, what?
I'm not really interested in getting choked, so I guess we're going.
Yeah, I might choke you in public. Big black guy chokes small white woman.
It's not a good look, Shannon.
Not a good look that you did what you did to me.
Okay,
Well, what?
The public backlash isn't only about the age difference. According to the lawsuit and Shannon's own leaked messages, the situation involved controversial behavior, including racially themed role play. Reports indicate that Shannon specifically requested those racially charged scenarios. Gabriella, the woman involved, was allegedly paid to participate in those encounters and was following explicit instructions tied to those payments. However, at some point, the situation appears to have escalated. Whether this was a premeditated setup or if she later withdrew her consent and he failed to stop either outcome reflects poorly on him.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine.
One of the leaked texts gives weight to the claim that Shannon paid to act out these fantasies. In it, Gabriella states that he paid her $25,000 per encounter. This wasn't a casual arrangement significant money changed hands. And it wasn't just Shannon sending inappropriate messages. Gabriella also shared explicit texts suggesting graphic scenarios that won't be repeated here. These exchanges added another troubling dimension to an already complex and controversial case.
Get this party started. Lay it on me. Get your black over here, buckwheat. Okay, come straight out the gate with it. Yeah, I know that's what you like to be called, ain't it? Buckwheat. Now stop flapping them gigantic lips and using them when they're supposed to use to not talking to their superiors. I see you shucking and jiving out in them fields, and I want a piece. That's all you're good for, so a piece of meat. You walk like you be wading in the water. Ooh, if my daddy and his friends saw you, boy, they'd take you out so quick. Cause he be looking at me. I know you want some of this fat back that I got. Make your lips all greasy, I know. I think I'm good on this. I thought we was just race playing. I thought you liked it.
Based on how everything unfolded, it's clear the 19-year-old wasn't emotionally connected to Shannon. Her actions suggest the relationship was purely transactional. She did what she was paid to do. It's also important to note that Shannon only made her messages public, conveniently leaving out his own. That detail didn't go unnoticed by fans, who quickly questioned the context. Many now believe her explicit messages were likely in response to what Shannon had already initiated, particularly the race-based role play. Whether the situation was entirely consensual or if the dynamic changed later is now up to the legal system. Still, things are increasingly looking unfavorable for Shannon, especially after Gabriella's attorney, Tony Busby, released a troubling audio recording. In it, Shannon is heard threatening to choke her and saying he would do it publicly. The clip sparked a major reaction online. To be fair, the recording sounds unsettling from both parties. It resembles a disturbing role play scenario. What concerns people most is that Shannon didn't stop the inappropriate conversation. He seemed to actively participate in it. Even if Gabriella provoked him and recorded it intentionally, she now claims it wasn't consensual. And fans aren't giving Shannon a pass. Many are saying a man approaching 60 should have had the maturity and awareness not to get manipulated by a teenager, especially in a way that would come back to hurt him. The lack of judgment is what baffles people. How do you jeopardize everything you've built over this?
Shannon Sharpe, we want out of the group chat now. Like right now, because it's getting disgusting and you need to act your age. First, you had to hear the audio from when you accidentally went live that absolutely nobody asked. We could have went our whole lives without hearing that. Then you started doing infomercials about ED pills. And now you sharing text messages that's just sharing too much. We didn't want to hear about nobody getting hogtied in your bedroom and your salad getting tossed while you wearing a collar. It's too much. At what point do you say you just too old? Be like that old grandfather that every time he come around, he want to tell you about all the women he got. And when everybody else is talking, he want to talk like he's still in his 20s and he hanging out with the young folks. Pack it up. You just too freaked out at your old age. And we don't want to know about, we truly don't want nothing to do with it. Please, why didn't you just share that in the courts? Share it with the lawyers. Why did we need to see that? Sick of him.
Another moment that caught attention was when Shannon tried to frame himself as a successful black man unfairly targeted. He compared his situation to Jay-Z's and accused Tony Busby, Gabriella's lawyer, of going after wealthy black men. Even if there's a grain of truth in that claim, the public wasn't convinced. Social media users were quick to criticize Shannon for trying to use race as a defense, especially given his participation in racially charged role play. The main question being asked is, how can someone claim racial bias while paying a white woman to act out racially degrading scenarios? Shannon also tried to get ahead of the backlash by warning that Busby might leak parts of a private video footage Shannon admitted could reinforce harmful stereotypes about black men. But the public wasn't receptive. Many pointed out that Shannon put himself in that position no one else did. It's difficult for people to sympathize when he appears to have willingly contributed to the very narratives he now wants to discredit. The inconsistency hasn't gone unnoticed, and the internet isn't letting it slide. Instead of support, Shannon's attempt to rally the community has been met with memes, jokes, and continuous backlash over the Raceplay scandal. Even the text messages he released didn't help his case, they only made the situation worse. Rather than clearing his name, they intensified the criticism. Many believe this isn't the first time Shannon has made questionable decisions, and they're no longer interested in hearing his victim story. According to the online response, Shannon had multiple opportunities to avoid this situation, but made choices that led him straight into it. Now it's your turn. What's your take on the Shannon Sharpe controversy? Was he unfairly targeted, or did his actions cause this outcome? And how do you feel about ESPN and Disney ending their relationship with him? Was it justified or premature? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another update. There's more coming, and you won't want to miss it.